God has made a decision that will change your life today. This is the moment to hear His voice. Are you prepared for what He has to say? If so, subscribe to the channel. Continuing. You felt it, didn't you? That subtle touch in your spirit, that whisper that seemed distant yet familiar. It's no coincidence you're reading these words now. This is your moment. God is speaking to you. Yes, to you, specifically. Among millions of people in the world, this message found its way to your heart because there was a divine purpose in it. How long have you been ignoring the signs? How long have you been postponing your awakening? The synchronicities in your life, those inexplicable moments, the recurring dreams, the people who crossed your path with specific words, all were signs pointing to this moment of revelation. There is a celestial urgency about your life at this exact instant. Heaven is in motion because of you. Invisible forces are being mobilized so that you finally understand the greatness of your calling. Like a seed that remained dormant under the ground during the long winter, you are about to break through the surface and behold the sunlight for the first time. Look around you. Don't you notice how everything seems to be converging toward a great change? The circumstances that seemed adverse were merely preparing the ground. The doors that closed weren't rejections, but divine redirections. What seemed like defeat was merely preparation. You are on the threshold of a great awakening. Just as dawn gradually breaks through the darkness of night, a new consciousness is being born within you. This is the hour of your spiritual rebirth, your awakening to a greater purpose. The light is breaking through the darkness that has for so long obscured your vision. This call is not just another motivational message. It's not just another passing stimulus. This is a prophetic call over your life, charged with the authority of heaven. Words that were sown in the heart of eternity long before you were born now find fertile soil in your spirit. Remember that deep desire that has always been in your heart. That dream that seemed too big, too impossible. It wasn't just a human desire. It was an echo of your divine destiny, a glimpse of what was planned for you since the beginning of time. The transformation that is about to happen in your life won't be gradual or subtle. It will be like a river dammed for too long that finally finds an outlet. It will be like the dawn after the longest night. It will be like spring after the harshest winter. Powerful, undeniable, transformative. You will feel it first in your spirit. That inexplicable certainty, that peace that transcends understanding, that joy that doesn't depend on circumstances. Then you will see the signs manifesting in your external reality. Doors will open where there were only walls before. Resources will emerge from unexpected places. People will be sent your way to confirm this word. Why now? Because you are ready. Because the world needs what you have to offer. Because your time of preparation behind the scenes has come to an end, and now it's time to take your place on the stage of life. The universe has been operating in the finest details so that you would be exactly where you are today. Reading these words, with your heart open to receive this truth. This moment is sacred. Between the person you were and the person you are destined to become, between the past that shaped you and the future that awaits you, between the seed and the leafy tree, between the chrysalis and the butterfly, between the dream and the manifestation. The limitations you accepted as part of your reality are about to be broken. The beliefs that kept you prisoner in a reduced version of yourself are being challenged at this very moment. The voice of fear and doubt, which for so long spoke louder than any other, now becomes a whisper in the face of the powerful truth of who you really are. You did not come to this world to be ordinary. You didn't come to follow a predetermined path and live within the limits imposed by others. You came to leave your mark, to illuminate dark places, to bring hope where there is despair, to create beauty where there is chaos. This message found you because there is something specific that only you can do. There are people that only you can reach. There are gifts in you that the world desperately needs. What would be considered impossible for others will become reality in your hands. Imagine yourself as a lighthouse on the coast, firm, unshakable, shining intensely amid the fiercest storm. That's what you are destined to be for many. Your example, your journey, your overcoming will inspire multitudes. Your words will carry power to break chains. Your presence will bring healing to wounded hearts. The veil between what you are and what you're destined to be is becoming thinner with each word you read. Can you feel it? That electricity in the air, that holy anticipation, that growing certainty that something monumental is about to happen in your life. The heavens are open above you now. The blessings that seemed distant are coming down like rain on thirsty soil. Divine favor is marking you in a way visible to everyone around you. Doors that seemed forever locked are beginning to open effortlessly. This is not a time for hesitation. It's not a time for doubt. It's a time for decisive action, for courageous faith, for intentional advancement. It's a time to leave behind everything that holds you back: toxic relationships, limiting habits, negative thoughts, fear of failure. The world is waiting for you. There are people whom God will place in your path who need exactly what you have to offer. There are places that will only be transformed when you get there. There are hearts that will only be reached through your story. This call is urgent. It's not something to consider at some future point. It's not something to add to your someday list. It's for now. It's for today. In this exact moment, as these words resonate in your spirit, you are being transformed. The old is passing away. Behold, all things are becoming new. Your identity is being restored, no longer defined by your failures, by your limitations, by your circumstances, now defined by your purpose, by your potential, by the divine calling on your life. You are being freed from the weight of others' expectations and discovering the freedom to live authentically. Allow yourself to feel the weight of this moment. Breathe deeply and accept this truth in your spirit. You are on the threshold of a new chapter. The pages are blank, waiting to be filled with stories of achievements, miracles, transformation, impact. If you believe this message is for you, write in the comments, "I receive this blessing." This act of faith is the first step in your journey of transformation. It's your declaration to the universe that you are ready to embrace your divine destiny. It's your yes to the call that resonates in your spirit. Now that you've heard the call, it's time to look inward. It's time to confront the truths that have been dormant in your heart. This is the moment of your inner awakening, where the layers are removed and the true self emerges. Have you ever wondered why certain people seem to live with so much purpose, so much clarity, so much passion, while others merely exist, navigating through life without direction? The difference is not in external circumstances, but in internal understanding. Those who live with purpose have found the courage to ask difficult questions and seek honest answers. So let me ask you, are you living the purpose for which you were created? When you look at your life, your choices, your relationships, your work, your time, do they reflect who you really are? Or have you been living a version of yourself that others expected you to be? Imagine a spiritual mirror before you now. Not the kind of mirror that reflects only your physical appearance, but one that reveals the truth of your heart, the authenticity of your journey, the integrity of your purposes. What do you see reflected? Can you recognize yourself? Or is there a stranger looking back at you? What has been holding you back? Is it the fear of failure, or perhaps more deeply the fear of success? Is it the belief that you are not worthy, not capable, not ready? Are they the voices from the past that still echo in your mind, saying you will never be enough? Each of us carries an inner garden. Some seeds were planted by loving parents, wise mentors, friends who believed in us. Others were sown by painful experiences, cruel words, disappointments, and betrayals. The garden of your mind, your thoughts, beliefs, expectations, what does it look like today? Have you cultivated the flowers of faith, hope, courage? Or have you allowed the weeds of doubt, fear, and bitterness to choke what is beautiful? This is the time to uproot what no longer serves your purpose. It's time to remove the limiting beliefs that have hindered your growth. Like a dedicated gardener who is not afraid to get his hands dirty to create beauty, you must be willing to do the inner work necessary for your true self to flourish. Do you realize how you've spent years waiting for something external to change? Your internal reality, A new job, a relationship, a house, recognition, financial success. But the truth that few discover is that lasting transformation always begins from within outward. When you change, your world changes. There is an ancient wisdom that says, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. What have you allowed to enter and remain in your heart? What thoughts have you nurtured? What emotions have dominated your decisions? What words have come out of your mouth? Your current life is the accumulated result of the thoughts you've thought, the words you've spoken, the choices you've made. Not by chance, not by cruel fate, not by circumstances beyond your control, but by internal patterns that created your external reality. There is a power within you that remains dormant until it is activated by consciousness. Just as a switch needs to be turned on for light to shine, your consciousness needs to awaken for your inner power to manifest. This is your moment of awakening. How long have you been living on autopilot? How long have you been repeating the same patterns, expecting different results? How long have you allowed the past to define your future? Stop for a moment. Breathe deeply. Feel the air entering and leaving your lungs. This simple action, breathing, is a reminder of the miracle that you are. Every cell in your body knows exactly what to do to keep you alive. Every beat of your heart is a testimony to the strength of life within you. If your physical body is capable of such innate wisdom, imagine the potential of your spirit when fully awakened. The great spiritual masters have always taught that the kingdom of heaven is within you. Not somewhere distant, not at some future time, but here and now in the temple of your heart. That's why inner awakening is so crucial. It's the recognition that everything you seek externally, peace, joy, purpose, love, is already within you, waiting to be discovered. But this awakening is rarely smooth. Often it is preceded by a crisis, a loss, a collapse of the old system. Have you experienced this? That moment when everything you thought you knew was questioned? That period when your life seemed to be falling apart, only so you could rebuild it in more authentic alignment with who you really are. That deconstruction is sacred. It's the process by which illusions are removed and truth is revealed. It's painful, yes, it's uncomfortable, certainly, but it's necessary for the new to emerge. Are you in that process now? Feeling between worlds, no longer identified with who you were, but not yet fully clear about who you are becoming? Welcome to the crucible of transformation, where the gold of your essence is purified, where your true self is forged. In this liminal space, questions are more valuable than answers. Allow yourself to question everything, your beliefs, your values, your relationships, your goals, not with cynicism, but with sacred curiosity, not to destroy, but to discern, not to abandon your faith, but to deepen it beyond the superficial layers of dogma and tradition to the living core of truth. What do you truly value? Not what you were taught to value, but what resonates deeply with your soul. What makes your heart sing? What brings tears to your eyes from the sheer beauty of it? What would make you get out of bed every morning, even if you were never paid for it? If all external voices were silenced, society's expectations, family opinions, cultural demands, what would remain? Who would you be in the absolute silence of your own truth? This is the kind of self-knowledge that changes everything, not the intellectual knowledge that comes from books, but the embodied wisdom that comes from lived experience, deep contemplation, attentive listening to the whisper of your soul. There is a specific purpose for which you were created. It's not something you invent, but something you discover. It's inscribed in the very fabric of your being, in your natural inclinations, in your unique gifts, in the experiences that have shaped your worldview. When you live in alignment with that purpose, there is a flow, an ease, a sense of rightness that transcends effort. Have you experienced this? Those rare moments when you lost track of time, completely absorbed in something that seemed to access a deeper part of you. Those occasions when what you were doing seemed as natural as breathing and yet profoundly impacted others around you. These are not accidents. They are glimpses of your purpose, signposts pointing to the path your soul yearns to follow. Observe them, honor them. They are precious revelations of your true nature. But here's the truth that many ignore. Your purpose is not just about you, it's about how your unique gifts can serve the world. It's about how your specific light can illuminate specific darkness. It's about how your particular story can bring hope to those facing similar challenges. You are not here just to find personal happiness, although that is part of the journey. You are here to contribute, to create, to connect, to elevate. You are here to be a channel through which beauty, truth, and love flow into a world that desperately needs them. This understanding changes everything. It transforms success from something you pursue to something you naturally attract by living your purpose. It transforms work from an obligation to an expression of who you are. It transforms relationships from sources of validation to partnerships of mutual growth. As you embark on this journey of self-discovery, remember, you are not alone. Many before you have walked this path of inner awakening. Their stories, their wisdom, their struggles and triumphs are available to guide you. Seek them out, learn from them. But in the end, trust your own inner compass, for your path is unique. And remember also, this is not a destination, but an ongoing journey. Awakening doesn't happen once and it's done. It's a daily invitation to choose consciousness over automatism, authenticity over conformity, love over fear. If you've gone through difficulties but never lost faith, comment, "I am strong and I will overcome." Your declaration is not just for the external world, but a reminder to your own spirit of the resilience that resides within you. Now you are entering the most intense phase of your journey. The call has been heard, the inner awakening has begun, and inevitably the test has arrived. This is the moment of battle, where your determination will be proven, your faith will be tested, and your true character revealed. Don't be deceived into thinking that the path of transformation is always smooth and flowery. The greatest treasures are protected by the most formidable fortresses. The highest peaks demand the most challenging climbs. The brightest souls are those who have passed through the refining fire. Are you facing resistance now? Does it seem that the more you advance toward your purpose, the more obstacles arise in the path? This is not coincidence, this is not bad luck. This is the universal law in action. That which has true value will always be tested. Think of David before facing Goliath, a young shepherd challenging a warrior feared by an entire army. Logic said it was impossible. The odds were overwhelmingly against him. But David had something that observers couldn't see, an inner conviction that he was exactly where he should be, doing exactly what he should do. And you? Are you facing your own Goliath? That obstacle that seems too big, that circumstance that seems impossible to overcome, that adversary that seems invincible? Know that, like David, you were not brought this far to fail. You have been prepared for this moment, equipped with exactly what you need to win. Look back at your life for a moment. See how each challenge you faced in the past, each difficulty you overcame, each lesson you learned, all were preparing you for this moment. Nothing was wasted. Nothing was accidental. Everything has served to forge the warrior that you are today. Can you see it? How the rejection you suffered taught you to find approval within yourself. How that painful loss showed you your own strength. How that apparent failure planted the seeds of a greater success. This is the divine paradox. Often what appears to be our greatest challenge becomes our greatest blessing. What seems to be our darkest moment precedes the brightest dawn. Think of Joseph, sold as a slave by his own brothers, falsely accused and thrown into prison. For years it seemed his life was ruined, his potential wasted, his future lost. But those seemingly lost years were, in reality, his preparation for ruling. Without adversity, he would never have developed the wisdom, compassion, and discernment necessary for his life mission. Are you in your prison season? Do you feel unjustly treated, forgotten, trapped in circumstances that seem to have no way out? Hold on, this is not your final story. It's just a preparatory chapter for your rise. The battle you face now is not just external. In fact, the most significant battle is happening within you, between who you were and who you are becoming, between the comfort of the familiar and the call to the unknown, between the fear that paralyzes and the faith that liberates. This is a spiritual battle, a war that unfolds primarily in the field of your mind. That's why the most dangerous enemy you face is not adverse circumstances, but the limiting thoughts that convince you that you cannot overcome those circumstances. Have you been bombarded with thoughts of doubt, fear, insecurity? Have you wondered if you really have what it takes, if the call you felt was real or just a product of your imagination, if the challenges are a sign to give up rather than persevere? These thoughts are not yours, they are intruders. They are the voices of mediocrity, of the status quo, of the enemy who fears what will happen when you fully assume your power. Don't give them a place in your mind. Don't invite them to a prolonged conversation. Recognize them for what they are, lies designed to keep you small, safe, and ineffective. The truth is that you were not created for mediocrity. You were not made to hide. You were not designed to live in constant fear. You were created to overcome, to advance, to conquer. The warrior is not one who never feels fear. It's one who advances despite fear. The winner is not one who never falls. It's one who rises once more than they fell. The champion is not one who never doubts. It's one who acts even amid doubt. Think of Esther, an ordinary young woman who found herself in a position of influence at a critical moment. She had to face her fear, risk her life, use her voice when silence would have been much safer. And who knows but that you have come to your royal position for such a time as this? This question resonated in her heart, just as it resonates in yours now. You are here at this specific moment in history, with your specific talents, your unique perspective, your particular experiences, for a purpose. The test you face is part of that purpose. The battle is the training ground for your destiny. The fiercest battles always precede the greatest victories. The densest darkness comes just before dawn. The most intense contractions occur moments before birth. You are in that moment now, on the threshold of your rebirth, your breakthrough, your victory. Don't give up. Don't back down. Don't surrender to the lie that it's too much for you. You have been divinely equipped for this moment. When Moses faced the Red Sea before him and the Egyptian army behind, it seemed there was no way out. But in his moment of greatest despair came the divine instruction. Why do you cry to me? Tell the children of Israel to march forward. Sometimes the miracle we need is not supernatural intervention, but the courage to take one more step in the direction we know we should go. It's time to march forward, to take a stand, to declare with authority, thus far and no further, to the forces that have tried to impede your progress. The battle may be fierce, but you are not alone in it. Just as Elisha asked for his servant's eyes to be opened to see the celestial armies surrounding them, it's time for your spiritual eyes to be opened to the resources, the allies, the divine help that is beside you right now. You have more support than you imagine. You have more strength than you believe. You have more resources than you think. The same force that moved mountains, divided seas, and raised the dead is available to you now. This is the moment to access a deeper level of faith. Not the theoretical faith that comes from hearing others' stories, but the experiential faith that comes from facing your own giants and seeing divine power manifest in your life. You've experienced such moments before, when it seemed there was no way forward, but somehow you found a path. When resources seemed exhausted, but mysteriously enough appeared. When your strength was at an end, but a second wind emerged. Those were not accidents. They were demonstrations of the power that works in and through you, and that same power is available now, multiplied, amplified, waiting to be activated by your faith and determination. The battle you are facing is not just for your own liberation, but for the liberation of many others who will follow in your footsteps. Your example of perseverance, your story of overcoming, your testimony of victory will be beacons of hope for those who come after you. This adds a new level of meaning to your test. It's not just about you, it's about the impact you are destined to have. It's about the legacy you are building. It's about the generations that will be inspired by your refusal to give up. Think of the heroes of faith who came before you. They too faced moments of doubt, periods of testing, battles that seemed impossible to win. Yet they persevered. They kept the course, they kept the faith. And because of their determination, we have their examples to inspire us today. You are writing your own story of faith now. You are creating your own legacy of courage. You are establishing your own testimony of overcoming that will inspire others in their moments of difficulty. This is not an ordinary battle. It's a turning point. It's a defining moment. It's the frontier between your past and your future, between who you were and who you are destined to be. On the other side of this battle is everything your heart has been yearning for. The peace you have been seeking, the clarity you have been desiring, the purpose you have been searching for, the impact you are destined to have. It's not time to back down. It's not time to doubt. It's time to advance with unwavering faith, with unyielding determination, with the certainty that you were created for this moment. Declare now with faith, "My blessing has already arrived." This is not just a positive phrase. It's a prophetic declaration that aligns your spirit with the reality that is already established in the spiritual realm and is now manifesting in the physical realm. Can you feel it? There's a change in the air, a shift in the spiritual atmosphere around you. What once seemed impossible is now beginning to take shape. What was just a distant vision is now materializing before your eyes. This is your moment of transformation. Like the caterpillar that enters the cocoon, a process that seems to be of darkness, confinement, and apparent death, you will emerge, transformed, with wings to fly to heights you never imagined possible. Metamorphosis is not instantaneous, but it is inevitable for those who persevere through the process. You are in this metamorphosis phase now. Perhaps you don't yet fully see the end result. Perhaps you still feel the squeeze of the cocoon in certain aspects of your life, but the transformation is already underway. The old is dissolving. The new is taking shape. Are there areas in your life where you can already see the changes happening? Where old patterns are being broken? Where new possibilities are opening up? Where strength you never knew you had is manifesting? Your mind is clearer now. Thoughts that once tormented you are losing power. Truths that were hidden are being revealed. Paths that seemed blocked are opening before you. The invisible chains that kept you bound, whether of guilt, shame, fear, self-imposed limitation, are breaking at this very moment. Don't you feel that relief, that new sense of lightness? That ability to breathe deeply again and feel hope flowing through your veins. The walls of Jericho are falling around you. Those seemingly impenetrable structures that separated you from your promised land are crumbling not by the power of your own efforts, but by a divine intervention that responds to your persistent faith. This is the moment when you begin to see physical evidence of what you already knew spiritually. This is the moment when faith becomes sight. This is the moment when your miracle is manifesting. Just like the people who marched around Jericho for 7 days, proclaiming victory before any stone had moved, you are celebrating now what your physical eyes are still learning to see. This is not denial of reality. It is the proclamation of a deeper reality that is emerging. You have been feeling this transformation within you for some time. That inexplicable peace in the midst of the storm. That certainty when everything around you suggested doubt. That joy that seemed to defy circumstances. These were the first signs of your metamorphosis. Now that internal transformation is manifesting externally, like waves that begin in the depths of the ocean and eventually reach the shore. What God initiated at the center of your being is reaching the edges of your tangible reality. Observe the synchronicities around you. That unexpected phone call, that opportunity that arose out of nowhere, that door that opened without you having to force it, that resource that appeared at the exact moment of need. These are not coincidences, they are divine confirmations that you are on the right path. The turning point is happening right now in your financial life. Where there was scarcity, abundance is flowing. Where there were debts, freedom is arriving. Where there was stagnation, growth is occurring. The resources you need to fulfill your purpose are being released. Supply is coming from sources you hadn't even imagined. Transformation is happening in your relationships. People who were destined to walk with you in this new phase are being drawn into your life. Toxic connections are naturally dissolving. Reconciliations that seemed impossible are happening. A new support network is forming around you. Your health is being restored. Energy you haven't felt in years is returning. Mental clarity is replacing confusion. Strength is replacing fatigue. Your body is aligning with the divine purpose for your life, becoming a suitable vessel for the mission ahead of you. Your mind is being renewed. Limiting thoughts are being replaced by a new expansive perspective. Beliefs that kept you small are giving way to truths that release your potential. Old traumas are losing their power over you. A new mindset is being born. Your identity is being transformed, no longer defined by your past, by your mistakes, by your limitations, but by your purpose, by your potential, by your intrinsic value as a being created for greatness. You are going from being a product of others' expectations to becoming the authentic expression of who you were destined to be. Your purpose is becoming clearer. What once seemed like a confused call is now crystallizing into a defined vision. The fragments are coming together. The bigger picture is emerging. You are beginning to see how your experiences, your gifts, and your passions intertwine to create a unique impact that only you can have. Feel that transformation accelerating now. What would normally take years is happening in months. What would take months is happening in weeks. What would take weeks is happening in days. There is a divine moment, a kairos, a supernatural acceleration in your favor. This is not just a period of change. It's a period of total metamorphosis. Just as the caterpillar doesn't become just an improved caterpillar, but an entirely new creature with completely different capabilities, you are not just becoming a slightly better version of yourself. You are becoming a transformed person with a new identity, a new purpose, new capabilities. Water is turning into wine in your life. The ordinary is becoming extraordinary. The natural is yielding to the supernatural. What was impossible in human terms is becoming not just possible, but real through divine intervention. Your desert is blooming. Places in your life that seemed barren, unproductive, devoid of hope, are suddenly showing signs of life. Sprouts are emerging from the dried soil. Flowers are blooming where no one would expect to find them. Rivers are flowing where there was only cracked earth. This transformation is not something you have to make happen through effort, willpower, or determination. It's something you allow to happen through surrender, trust, acceptance. It's like a seed that doesn't struggle to become a tree. It simply surrenders to the natural process of growth when planted in the right soil and receives water and light. You are planted in the right soil now. The light is shining on you. Living water is nourishing your deepest parts. The conditions are perfect for your flourishing. Observe how this transformation is affecting not just you, but everyone around you. Your partner is noticing the change. Your children are responding differently. Your colleagues are perceiving something new in you. Even strangers are being attracted to an intangible quality that emanates from you now. That's why this transformation is not just for your personal benefit. It's for the benefit of everyone your life touches. Like ripples that spread when a stone is thrown into a lake, your transformation is creating waves of positive change that extend far beyond your immediate circle. People you don't even know yet will be impacted by what is happening in you now. Generations that will come after you will reap the fruits of the seeds you are planting in this period of transformation. The legacy you are establishing will transcend your physical life. This is the magnitude of what is occurring. This is the importance of this moment. This is the reason why the forces of fear, doubt, and negativity fought so fiercely to prevent you from getting here. They knew what you may only be beginning to realize, that your transformation is part of a much larger plan. Do you feel your faith strengthening? That unshakable conviction that no matter what happens, all things will work together for good. That certainty that you do not walk alone, but that there is a divine presence guiding every step. That confidence that even your mistakes and setbacks will be redeemed as part of your journey. Fear is losing its power over you. The worries that used to keep you awake at night now seem small compared to the greatness of what you are experiencing. The anxiety that used to dominate your thoughts is being replaced by a quiet confidence. Clarity is increasing. Decisions that seemed impossible now become obvious. Paths that seemed hidden now clearly reveal themselves. Next steps that were nebulous are now illuminated. You know what you must do, and more importantly, You know why you are doing it. You are no longer the same person who began this journey. Something fundamental has changed. A line has been crossed. A threshold has been passed. You have entered a new territory of faith, purpose, and power. There's no going back to what was before. There's no unseeing what you've seen, unknowing what you've known, unliving what you've lived. The transformation is irreversible. You have been marked by eternity. This is your hour. This is your moment. This is your turning point. Everything. You've been through everything you've faced, everything you've overcome, was preparing you for this time of divine acceleration. The metamorphosis is almost complete. The wings are practically formed. The cocoon is about to open. The world is waiting to witness your emergence, no longer crawling but flying, no longer limited by the gravity of circumstances, but elevated by the wind of the Spirit. If you feel that your change has begun now, comment, "I am ready to live the new." This declaration is both an acknowledgement of what is already happening and an invitation to the fullness of what is yet to come. It's your conscious yes to the process of transformation that is already underway in your life. Breathe deeply. Look around you. Recognize the path traveled. You have arrived. The battle has been won. The transformation has been achieved. The victory that once seemed so distant is now your present reality. This is the moment of your triumph. It's not just any victory. It's not an ordinary conquest. It's a prophetic victory that was declared over your life long before you entered the battle. It's the fulfillment of promises that sustained your faith during the darkest moments. It's the manifestation of the word that was planted in your spirit and has now produced hundredfold fruit. Close your eyes for a moment and let the reality of this victory permeate every fiber of your being. Feel the weight of the glory that is upon you now. Perceive the atmosphere of triumph that surrounds you. Recognize the sweet taste of the fulfilled promise. This victory is not just about external circumstances that have changed, although that is certainly part of it. It's a deeper victory over the fear that tried to paralyze you, over the doubt that tried to divert you, over the giving up that almost seduced you. You won not just by battling externally, but by standing firm internally. Like Joshua and Caleb, who maintained a different perspective when everyone else saw only giants, you chose to see beyond the apparent obstacles and focus on the promises. You chose a different report. You chose to believe that what God had promised, He would be faithful to fulfill. And now you are reaping the fruits of that choice. Now you are experiencing the reality of what before existed only in the realm of faith. Now you are walking in the land that was promised to you. Look at the areas of your life that have been completely transformed, relationships that have been restored, purposes that have been clarified, gifts that have been activated, resources that have been released, doors that have been opened, paths that have been widened, limits that have been expanded. This victory is neither temporary nor partial. It's not a momentary relief that will soon give way to new problems. It's a decisive turning point, a point of no return, a fundamental change in the course of your history. What has been established now will not be easily shaken. Like the dawn that inevitably follows the longest night, this victory marks the beginning of a new era in your life. The shadows have retreated, the light has prevailed. A new day has begun, not just a day on the calendar, but a new epoch, a new chapter, a new beginning. You are stepping on territory that once seemed impossible to reach. You are breathing the air of a spiritual altitude that once seemed beyond your reach. You are experiencing a freedom that once seemed a distant dream. This victory is not just yours. It's a testimony to everyone around you. It's a tangible declaration that those who trust, who persevere, who refuse to give up, will eventually see the manifestation of what they believed. Your story now becomes inspiration. Your experience now becomes evidence. Your testimony now becomes a seed of faith for others. Remember those who doubted, those who questioned your faith, those who suggested you were pursuing an illusion. Don't allow resentment to diminish your joy. Your victory is not an opportunity to rub it in the critics' faces, but to show everyone that the impossible becomes possible for those who believe. This victory also marks the beginning of a new journey. The end of one battle is always the beginning of another adventure. The conquest of one territory opens the door to new expansions. The overcoming of one limit reveals new horizons to be explored. You were not brought this far to settle comfortably and rest on the laurels of this conquest. You were brought this far to lay the foundations for the next level. This victory is not the final destination, it's a launching platform. There is a danger in this moment of triumph, the danger of complacency, of self-indulgence, of pride. Many have achieved impressive victories only to lose them because they forgot the principles that led them to success in the first place. Don't fall into that trap. Remember the humility that sustained you during difficult times. Remember the divine dependence that was your anchor in the storms. Remember the community that supported you when you didn't have the strength to continue alone. These were not just resources for times of crisis, they are foundations for a life of sustained victory. In this moment of celebration, take time for gratitude. Gratitude for the path, with all its unexpected turns and apparent detours, that brought you exactly where you needed to be. Gratitude for the people who walked beside you, who believed in you, who lifted you when you fell. Gratitude for the inner strength you discovered, for the resources that were released, for the lessons that were learned. Your new journey begins now, not from zero, but from a place of established victory. You advance not as an exhausted warrior, but as a confident conqueror. Not as someone trying to prove your worth, but as someone whose identity is secure. Not as someone desperate for success, but as someone who has already experienced the taste of divine favor. This new journey will take you to unexplored territories. There will be new challenges, certainly. There will be new skills to develop, new lessons to learn, new limits to surpass. But you face all of this from a position of strength, not weakness, of experience, not naivety, of proven faith, not theoretical. Hope. You are entering a season of expanded influence. The impact of your words, your actions, your mere presence will be multiplied. People you don't even know will be affected by your story. Places you've never visited will feel the waves of your purpose. Generations yet unborn will harvest the seeds you are planting now. Are you prepared for that responsibility? Are you willing to be a light not just for your own path, but for many others? Are you ready to use your voice not just to celebrate your victory, but to call others to their own journey of transformation? The world is waiting for you. Not the whole world perhaps, but your world. That specific circle of influence that only you can impact in the unique way you were created to do. The people God has strategically placed in your orbit are waiting to see what you will do with this victory. Visualize your life a year from now, 5 years, 10 years if you continue to build on the foundation of this victory. See relationships flourishing under your influence. See projects prospering under your leadership. See lives being transformed through your example. See the legacy being established for future generations. This is not fantasy, it's prophetic vision. It's not empty positive thinking, it's faith based on concrete promises and the evidence of victories already won. It's the natural unfolding of what has already been established in your life. The doors that have opened for you now are not just for your benefit, they are so that you can open doors for others. The favor that is upon your life is not just for your personal promotion, it's so that you can elevate those around you. The anointing that has been poured upon you is not just for your spiritual satisfaction. It's so that you can bring healing and restoration to the broken. Your victory has purpose. Your triumph has meaning. Your new position has responsibility. You have been blessed to be a blessing. You have been lifted to lift others. You have been liberated to liberate. The light of recognition is upon you now. People who previously didn't notice your value now clearly see who you are. Opportunities that once seemed closed now freely present themselves. Platforms that once seemed inaccessible now invite you to share your message. This is divine favor in action, not because of your credentials, but because of your character, not because of your connections, but because of your calling, not because of your perfection, but because of your purpose. Use that favor wisely. Administer that influence with integrity. Manage that recognition with humility. They are precious assets that, if well utilized, will open even more doors. If poorly managed, can become stumbling blocks. Keep your focus on what truly matters. At the height of success, it's easy to get distracted by what is peripheral and forget what is fundamental. It's easy to confuse activity with purpose, popularity with impact, applause with divine approval. Your compass must continue to be the purpose for which you were created. Your metric must continue to be faithfulness to that calling. Your north must continue to be the vision that was planted in your heart long before any of these victories manifested. This victory and this new journey are the fulfillment of ancient promises and the beginning of new promises. It's the closing of one circle and the drawing of a larger circle. It's the harvest of one sowing and the preparation of the soil for a more abundant sowing. Allow yourself to celebrate fully. Allow yourself to feel the depth of joy that comes from seeing faithfulness manifest in your life. Allow yourself to experience the rest that comes after the battle won. This celebration is not indulgence, it's appropriate recognition of a significant milestone in your spiritual journey. And then, with a grateful heart and renewed vision, look to the horizon. There are more territories to be conquered. There are more lives to be impacted. There is more of your purpose to be unfolded. The adventure continues, now at a new level, with new possibilities, with new power. If you received this word in your heart right, my victory is certain. This is not just an affirmation, it's a declaration of alignment with what has already been established in the spiritual realm and is continuously manifesting in your natural life. We have reached the crucial moment, the point of convergence where everything that has been said, everything that has been revealed, everything that has been awakened within you, now demands a response. This is not just another chapter in your story. It is the moment that will define your future. It is the final call to action. Every journey of transformation comes to this point, the moment of decision, the moment when words must become acts, the moment when inspiration must translate into movement, the moment when faith must demonstrate itself through works. This is your moment. Until now, you have been the listener, the receiver, the one who absorbed the message. Now you are called to become the executor, the manifester, the one who embodies the truth you have received. This is the step that many never take, the transition from mental agreement to transformative action. Look at your life at this exact moment. Where do you most urgently need to apply these truths? Which area is crying out for a courageous decision? Which relationship needs a new commitment? Which dream is waiting for your first concrete step? Which fear finally needs to be faced? There are moments in life that serve as portals, decision, points that once crossed, permanently alter the course of your existence. You are standing before one of those portals now. On one side is the familiar, the comfortable, the predictable. On the other side is the unknown, the challenging, but also the extraordinary. The great men and women of history were not those who simply had great ideas or received great revelations. They were those who acted upon those ideas and revelations. They were those who translated inspiration into implementation. They were those who understood that true transformation always requires action. Think of Abraham, called to leave everything he knew to follow a promise. His legacy was not established at the moment he heard the divine voice, but at the moment he set out, as the Lord had told him. It was the act of obedience that opened the way for everything that would come after. You are in your moment of setting out. The call has been given, the vision has been shown, the promise has been declared. Now what will you do with it? Will you remain in the same position, reflecting on what could be? Or will you move toward what must be? The difference between those who merely dream and those who achieve is not in the volume of inspiration they receive, but in the readiness with which they translate that inspiration into action. The world is full of inspired people. It is rarer to find people who consistently act from that inspiration. Close your eyes now and imagine your transformed life. Imagine your mind light, your heart at peace, and your soul renewed. Imagine your relationships flourishing, your purposes being fulfilled, your finances prospering, your health radiant. Imagine your impact expanding, reaching people you don't even know yet. Breathe deeply and feel that energy. This is already happening to you. This visualization is not just a mental exercise, it is a powerful spiritual practice. It is the alignment of your imagination with the reality that already exists in the spiritual realm and is seeking manifestation in the physical realm through your active participation. But visualization alone is not enough. It must be followed by concrete steps, even if small, in the direction of what you have seen. As ancient wisdom says, faith without works is dead. Vision without action remains just a beautiful idea, an unrealized potential. What is the next step for you? Don't try to figure out the entire path at once. You don't need to see the whole staircase, just take the first step. What is that first step for you today? Perhaps it's making that call you've been putting off. Perhaps it's initiating that difficult but necessary conversation. Perhaps it's enrolling in that course, sending that email, writing the first paragraph of that book, making that apology, taking that step of faith toward your dream. Whatever it is, don't let this day end without having taken that step. Don't let the inspiration cool before transforming it into action. Don't let the fear of failing overcome the enthusiasm of trying. Something powerful happens when you act from faith. Resources you didn't know were available suddenly appear. People who can help you cross your path at the exact moment. Ideas and solutions emerge when you are in motion, not when you are standing still in perpetual contemplation. As a wise person once said, take the best possible step in the best direction, and then the next step will become clear. Clarity comes on the path, not before it. Confirmation follows obedience, not precedes it. Certainty is the result of action, not its prerequisite. This is a call to break the cycle of spiritual procrastination, that pattern of always waiting. For more confirmation, more preparation, more resources before acting. The truth is that you already have everything you need to take the next step. The rest will come when you are in motion. Imagine yourself a year from now, looking back at this moment. In one reality, you chose to postpone action, wait for ideal circumstances, remain in the comfort of the familiar. In another reality, you chose to act now, move forward in faith, embrace the unknown with courage. Which of these two people do you want to be? Time is the most precious resource we have. It is the only thing that once spent can never be recovered. Each day that passes without action toward your purpose is a day that never returns. It is a day of unrealized potential, of unmanifested impact, of unexperienced joy. I'm not talking about anxious hurry or frantic activism. I'm talking about intentional movement, deliberate steps, action aligned with purpose. The quality of your action is as important as the action itself. Moving without direction is just creating the illusion of progress. Your action must flow from your being. It must be a natural expression of who you are and what you believe, not a forced attempt to become something you are not. When your action is aligned with your true identity, it carries a power and authenticity that no artificial effort can produce. Remember, you are not alone in this journey. The same power that initiated this work of transformation in you is present to sustain you as you act. The same wisdom that guided you here will continue to illuminate your path. The same grace that reached you in your moment of greatest need will accompany you in every step you take. There are people waiting for what only you can offer. There are places that will only be transformed when you arrive there. There are hearts that will only be touched through your unique story. Your obedience today is not just about your own life. It's about the ripple effect that will affect many others. Think of the great movements that transformed history. They all began with ordinary individuals who simply said yes to the call, who took the first step toward the vision they received. No one knew at the beginning how far their steps would take them or how many lives would be impacted. They simply began. This is the beauty of the divine kingdom. It often begins as the smallest of seeds, almost imperceptible, easily underestimated, but it contains within itself unlimited potential for growth, expansion, and transformation. Your small step today may be the beginning of something that surpasses your boldest imagination. Don't compare your journey with others. Your call is unique. Your timing is singular. Your path is personalized. What seems like a small step for some may be a giant leap for you. What appears as delay to others may be divine preparation in your case. Trust the individual process that was specifically designed for your growth and purpose. The greatest barrier to action is often not the lack of knowledge, but excessive analysis. It's not the absence of opportunity, but the paralysis of perfection. It's not the scarcity of resources, but the abundance of reasons to postpone. Recognize these traps for what they are, strategies of fear to keep you exactly where you are. Fear will always present scenarios of failure, rejection, inadequacy. It will paint vivid pictures of everything that could go wrong. It will create endless lists of reasons why you should wait, reconsider, give up. This is the work of fear, to keep you small, safe, and stagnant. But you are not governed by fear. You are guided by faith. You are not motivated by anxiety, but by purpose. You are not defined by your past failures, but by your future potential. This is the truth about who you are, and it is from this truth that you must act. Imagine the collective impact if every person who received a word of direction, a vision of purpose, a call to something greater, actually acted upon it. Imagine the transformation that would occur in families, communities, entire nations. This is not an impossible dream. It is the original plan. And it begins with individuals like you, who choose to act instead of merely nodding in agreement. Your decision to act today affects not only your present, it shapes your future. Each act of courage, each step of faith, each movement toward your true purpose creates a spiritual precedent. It establishes a pattern. It strengthens a muscle that makes the next action a little easier, a little more natural. Over time, what once required Herculean effort becomes second nature. What once provoked terror is now faced with quiet confidence. What seemed impossible is now just another step in your journey of growth. This is how character is formed. This is how destiny is fulfilled, one step at a time. Don't wait for great opportunities. Create them through faithfulness in small things. Don't wait for dramatic moments of inspiration. Cultivate a life of consistent obedience. Don't seek platforms, seek purpose. The platforms will come as a natural result of your commitment to what truly matters. This is the final call to action, not just to do something, but to become someone, to become fully the person you were created to be. To live, not merely exist. To impact, not just occupy space. To leave a legacy, not just a memory. The time is now, not tomorrow when circumstances are perfect, not next week when you feel more prepared, not next month when you have more resources. Now, today, this moment. There is power in decision. There is authority in conscious choice. There is liberation in commitment. When you decide to act, something changes in the spiritual realm. Forces are mobilized, paths are opened, resources are released. The universe conspires in favor of those who move in alignment with their divine purpose. Take a moment right now and declare aloud, I choose to act upon this truth. I commit to my next step. I embrace the call that has been placed upon my life. This vocal declaration is not an empty formality. It is a spiritual act that aligns your being with your decision. Choose a specific action that you will perform in the next 24 hours, something tangible, measurable, achievable, that represents a real step toward what has been awakened in you during this message. Write it down. Share it with someone who can hold you accountable. Place it somewhere you will see it constantly. And then, do it. No matter what happens, no matter how you feel, no matter what obstacles arise, this is your commitment to yourself, to your future, to the purpose for which you were created. Remember, inaction is also a choice. Not making a decision is in itself a decision. The decision to remain where you are, to accept the status quo, to give up the extraordinary in favor of the comfortably mediocre. You were not born for mediocrity. You were not created for a common existence. You were not designed to settle for less than the full flourishing of your potential. You came to this earth with a purpose, with a calling, with a unique contribution to make. The world needs what only you can offer. It needs your voice, your vision, your gifts, your courage, your unique perspective. It needs your willingness to rise up, to move forward, to lead, to serve, to create, to innovate, to inspire. Don't keep it to yourself. Don't take to the grave the gifts that should have been shared, the words that should have been spoken, the actions that should have been taken. Don't reach the end of your life with a heart full of regrets for what could have been if you had only found the courage to act. Start where you are. Use what you have. Do what you can. This is the secret of achievers in all ages. They didn't wait for perfect conditions, for they created better conditions through their willingness to begin with what they had at hand. You already possess everything you need for the step you need to take today. The next step, the one that seems to require more than you currently have, will only become relevant after you have taken today's step. That's how the journey works, one foot in front of the other, one day at a time. One step after another. The story of your transformation, your overcoming, your victory, has power to inspire countless other lives. Don't keep that story to yourself. Don't diminish its importance. Don't underestimate its potential impact. Share it. Live it out loud. Allow others to see what is possible when someone like you chooses to believe, persevere, and act. This is the moment to take your stand, to declare who you are and what you stand for, to draw a line in the sand and say, from this point forward, things will be different. From this moment on, I am fully committed to my calling, to my purpose, to my destiny. The decision lies before you. The choice is yours. The moment is now. Share this message with someone who needs to hear it today. This act of sharing is not just about disseminating information. It's about participating in the transformation of another life. It's about extending the same hand that was extended to you. It's about continuing the chain of positive impact that can eventually reach far beyond what you could ever imagine. Think about the person who first shared these truths with you. Think about how that act of sharing changed the trajectory of your life. Now you have the opportunity to do the same for someone else, to be the catalyst, the messenger, the voice that speaks hope into someone's darkness. This message was never meant to stop with you. Like a river that receives water upstream and then flows it downstream, you are part of a greater flow of blessing, of truth, of transformation. What you've received is meant to be given. What has touched you is meant to touch others through you. In a world filled with messages of fear, limitation, and cynicism, your voice speaking life, possibility, and faith becomes revolutionary. It becomes an act of holy rebellion against the forces that would keep people small, afraid, and disconnected from their divine potential. Think of it this way. Somewhere right now, someone is praying for exactly what you've experienced. Someone is asking for a sign, for guidance, for hope. Someone is at the end of their rope, wondering if there's anything more than the struggle they're currently experiencing. Your willingness to share could be the answer to that prayer. The transformation that has begun in you is like a flame. It can remain a small fire, warming only your immediate surroundings, or it can spread, igniting other fires, until what was once a single flame becomes a blaze that cannot be ignored or extinguished. Every great movement in history began this way. Every revival, every awakening, every revolution of thought or spirit started with individuals who refused to keep to themselves what they had discovered. They spoke, they shared, they invited others into the same experience of transformation. You are part of something larger than yourself. Your individual awakening is connected to a collective awakening. Your personal transformation is a piece of a global transformation. Your step of faith joins with the steps of countless others who are also responding to the same divine call for a higher consciousness, a deeper purpose, a more authentic existence. The seeds you plant today through your words, your actions, your willingness to share will grow into trees that provide shade and fruit for generations to come. Long after you're gone, the impact of what you've set in motion will continue to unfold in ways you cannot now imagine. This is your moment of decision. This is your point of power. This is your opportunity to align yourself with the divine flow that has been moving throughout history, drawing humanity ever forward toward its highest potential, its truest expression, its ultimate purpose. Will you say yes? Will you take that step? Will you share this message? Will you become part of the solution, part of the awakening? part of the transformation that our world so desperately needs. The choice is yours. But know this, you were brought to this moment, to this message, to this crossroads for a reason. It was no accident. It was no coincidence. It was a divine appointment, a sacred intersection of your life with a greater purpose. The world is waiting for your response.